Hey everybody, Nate here from WASD20. Welcome back. Today I've got a review for you. This is Rise of the Dungeon Master, Gary Gygax and the creation of D&D. It tells the story of D&D's beginnings in graphic novel form. I think you're going to like it. First off, I want to give a shout out to Nathan from the channel Earl T. Gray. I had forgotten about this book until I saw his review, so I'll put a link to that in the description below. Thanks, Nathan. So as I said, this book is a graphic novel that tells the story of Dungeons & Dragons. It is written by David Kushner and illustrated by Koren Shadmi. Now, David Kushner is an author that I'm familiar with because I've got a couple other of his books that I really enjoy. Jacked, The Outlaw Story of Grand Theft Auto, and Masters of Doom, How Two Guys Created an Empire and Transformed Pop Culture. This one in particular I really like. It's about the founders of id Software who created the game Doom, and just about the history of first-person shooters and video game violence and all sorts of things. So really good book. Definitely recommend people check it out. And this one I was excited about because I saw, oh, David Kushner's writing it. And then I found out it was a graphic novel. And honestly, my first reaction was a bit of disappointment because I was looking forward to Kushner giving it the Masters of Doom treatment. This is just a fascinating story, and it's about 300 pages, so it's pretty big. And then, I find out that we're getting a graphic novel, and I think, oh, it's not going to be really all that in-depth. On the flip side, there's a couple books that have done the in-depth thing pretty well. One is Playing at the World. That's the ultimate tome of knowledge on tabletop role-playing games. And then there's, of course, Of Dice and Men and Empire of Imagination. I did a review of all three of these books. You can check out the link right up there, and you can check out that video. And I've been talking about for a while now, almost a year, that I'm going to be doing a series on the history of Dungeons & Dragons. And that's still in the works. I am still planning on doing that. It'll be a multi-part series, and I'm really excited about it, honestly. But anyway, back to Rise of the Dungeon Master. So, although I was disappointed that it's a graphic novel, because I really wanted some good, meaty, in-depth reporting, at least we already have a bunch of those. And a graphic novel is a really cool way to tell this story. The format fits the topic and the subject matter really well. Telling the story of Dungeons & Dragons in graphic novel form just works. The art itself by Koren Shadmi is really well done. It's very nice to look at, nice drawings, all black and white, but still really nice. The cover is color, and it's got this nice portrait of Gary Gygax on it. It is smooth, matte finish. And the letters themselves here are a little bit embossed, but really gorgeous cover. One of my Twitter followers said, when I posted a picture of it on Twitter, said, okay, I'm judging this book by its cover, and I judge it as amazeballs. And yeah, I'm with that guy. It's a pretty awesome cover, and it was hard for me not to pick it up after seeing that cover for sure. Especially given that the retail price for this thing is $17, and it was going on Amazon for less than $10. So really cheap. So I think it's definitely well worth that. It is a very quick read. I finished it up in probably about 2 hours, I would say. And yeah, maybe I didn't spend a lot of time looking at the art as much as I could have, but it is a pretty quick read for sure. So back to the art. The art is really nice, and I think it fits the style of the book really well. The art does some really cool things where it kind of mixes the fantastical with the real world stuff. Maybe it's to show the thoughts of the characters, or maybe it is actually to symbolize some of the things the characters are going through in their lives. Either way, it works really well. It's got a great style to it. Let's talk about the content of the book itself now. Each chapter of the book is from the perspective of a different person. Most of them are from the perspective of Gary Gygax, a couple from Dave Arneson. There's even one from William Deere, who was an attorney who was investigating the disappearance of a Michigan State University student during the 1980s, the case that kind of started a lot of the moral panic surrounding D&D. So the way that Kushner and the artist tell the story together works really well together. In terms of the history itself, it's hard for me not to judge it pretty harshly because I have read these other books that go so in depth with the subject matter. that there's a lot of things this leaves out, and it's hard for me not to judge it too harshly for that. So I try to put that aside and understand this is a graphic novel. It's not an academic work that's trying to tell the story in the same way those other books are, and yet there are a couple key omissions that did kind of bother me. One of them is the omission of Kriegspiel, laying the foundation for war games. It pretty much starts the story of war games with H.G. Wells' Little Wars here in the 20th century, and leaves out the fact that a lot of war games had been played before that, Kriegspiel specifically by the Prussian army during the 19th century, and maybe even earlier. Another omission that I wasn't too fond of is the omission of Braunstein, which was the creation of David A. Wesley as a foundation for Dungeons & Dragons. A lot of people would say David A. Wesley is the true inventor of the role-playing game, and so not to mention his name or his creation, this game scenario that he called Braunstein, I think is a bit of an omission. They make very brief mention of Dave Arneson being influenced by the Twin Cities gaming scene, but not very much. Other than that, I don't really have any major complaints about the book. I think it's really good. I think it's excellent for what it is. It tells the story in a unique, engaging way, melding both the content and the art style very well together. And I highly recommend people check this out, especially given the price point. It's really not that expensive. I do think that this book is much more approachable than a lot of the other books about the history of D&D just because of its format. It's a really quick read, it's a graphic novel, and a lot of people aren't going to pick up a 200-page book about Dungeons & Dragons and its history. I wish they would, because those books are amazing, and I do think that they're pretty quick reads. Something like Of Dice and Men or Empire of Imagination, I read those really quickly. I devoured them. But something like this is just even more digestible for just the average gamer, I think. And I would definitely highly recommend people check it out. So you can obviously check your local bookstores for the book. If you are interested in buying it on Amazon, I might suggest you do so using the link down below in the description for my Amazon affiliate store. Anything you buy through my Amazon affiliate links, a little bit goes to help support the channel and what I do here, and enables me to have the freedom to buy a book like this for review and other equipment for the channel. So it is really helpful, and it's at no extra cost to you. It's same great Amazon prices. In addition, you can help support me on Patreon if you'd like. Lastly, if you have any comments or questions, I encourage you to put those down below. I always love to hear from you. If you have this book, I'd especially like to hear what you think. And yeah, like, subscribe, all that stuff, and everybody take care. You'll see me again very soon.